Lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. Strap yourself in, guys, because this is going to be a bumpy ride.
Mayday! Mayday! Mayday!
Mayday? What the hell is that?
Mayday? Why, that's the Russian New Year.
All right, guys, welcome back. So if you follow the paranormal groups on Facebook, you will have come across all the hype that's around the old bank house in 45 High Street, Wombwell. Now, back when this opened as a haunted location, it was originally run by Lindsay and Lee Steer.
Oh my God.
Now, Lindsay and Lee had a couple of locations that they were running at the time, but unfortunately, they split up and Lindsay got the old bank house and Lee got the other location. Now, Lindsay completely ran this place into the ground. They were barely getting any bookings. She bought loads of dolls from charity shops saying they were haunted and created some narrative that there were ghosts of children there, ghosts of the Mr. Banker, releasing multiple videos of investigations that Lindsay was conducting using flawed methods like cat balls, DR60s, apps, and creating some kind of narrative that the place was haunted to high heaven. Now, Lee paid the rent for that place for 3 years up front. And because when the lease ran out, they weren't taking enough bookings and they had to say goodbye to the old bank house. But I thought it was a bit of a low blow, actually, to find out that even though the rent had been paid up for 3 years up front, which was paid by Lee, she was still charging the ladies who were running the place with rent, even though the rent had already been paid for.
What?
Nice way to treat your friends, Linz. Nice way to treat your friends. But anyway, we'll get back to Lindsay later. Let's focus on the new managers of the location, Matthew and Rhea. So Matt and Rhea put out a post on Facebook going through some of the history of the building. They said that there were mines that were directly underneath the building that were connected to the Lund Hill disaster in the 1800s, where nearly 300 people lost their lives, basically implying that the place could be haunted by the spirits of the miners that lost their lives underneath the building. As it was a bank, they did go on to say that there was a John William Mason who lost his life in the building. He was a banker and he was supposed to have had a heart attack at his desk and died at the age of 55 in 1915. Another death that they reported inside the building was that of an Elizabeth Bond, who was found at the bottom of the stairs in 1898 with a cracked skull. And apparently John Mason was the one that found her. And then we move on to a Mary Fisher, who was also supposed to have died in the building in 1915, upstairs in her bed of pneumonia. Now, when I did my debunk on the two ghost girls, they were actually at this venue. And when they were talking about the history, I wanted to dive a little deeper and see whether there was any truth to the claims. Now, on my initial search, I couldn't find any information of there being any mining tunnels underneath the building, and I certainly couldn't find any of the deaths that have been recorded also. And some of the searches even said that the place wasn't even a bank. But back in the late 1800s, the street names and numbers, they were different, and they weren't updated for a number of years down the line. So some of the research I was doing said that the place was actually a co-op. So I did question Rhea and Matt on this, saying that I don't think it was ever a bank. So they did tell me where to have a look, and I did have a look, and I can confirm it was a bank. So I did make a mistake on that, and I apologise. But it just goes to show that searching on Google, sometimes even that gets it wrong. But now they've removed the posts on Facebook about the history of the mines being under the building and the deaths that occurred inside the bank house, we're going to have a look through the Ouija brothers' visit there a few weeks back. Now, luckily for us, Matthew is there giving them a tour around the building and he dives into a little bit of the history. So we'll have a look and we'll pause and we'll go through some of the things that I have found, because I have dug so deep into this. And what I found out through looking through the archives, multiple archives, things ain't adding up here. So let's grab the old phones. Let's have a look at this intro, courtesy of the Ouija brothers. Link will be in the description.
I'm Matthew, and I'm the manager, and I currently run the old bank house in Wombwell. So the building's a Victorian building. Before we took it on, it was already known for hauntings from the previous owner.
The previous owner being Lindsay from the old Ghosts of Britain crew, which need I say more? Lindsay's been in the paranormal game for a long time. She's been caught faking numerous times. I've caught her faking recently. So any stories regarding this place coming from her mouth, you pretty much know that it's bullshit. Now we're talking about an investigator that uses cat balls, debunked. DR60, debunked. K2 meter, debunked. Necrophonic, debunked. Spirit talker, debunked. Faking table tipping.
Whoa! That's amazing, thank you.
Debunked. Posting pictures online saying, "What do you see here, guys?" And you can see there's a shadow in the background. Only for another team to go there about a week later, turn on the lights, and there's a mannequin stood there in the exact same position.
Right, guys. The past couple of weeks I've seen a load of bullshit posts claiming things to be spirit. And this is in the American hangar. And what people were saying was a black figure. Was that there? With a coat on? It's a mannequin. This is what's wrong with the paranormal world.
Buying dolls from charity shops and then putting a bit of makeup on, drawing some squiggles on their face and passing them off as haunted dolls. She's an absolute blagger. Always has been and always will be. But anyway, like I said, we'll get more onto that later.
We'd been lucky enough to visit it a few times. Being a historian, I did a lot more research into it. I found out a lot of the history of the building, the deaths that had happened in the building.
Did you hear what he said there?
Being a historian, I did a lot more research into it. I found out a lot of the history of the building, the deaths that had happened in the building.
Being a historian, he dove into the history and found out about the deaths in the building. Well, Matt, I'd really like to know where you got your information from, because me and 4 other people have been researching this for about 2 weeks. Now, we've been through the official census records. As it was a Barclays Bank, I've emailed the Barclays Bank archives. They were able to give me a detailed breakdown of who was in that building, on what dates. I've even had somebody who's been helping me that lives in the Wombwell area to walk into the Barnsley archives and get a specialist to help them. And there was no record of any deaths in the newspapers or any of the records inside the archives. But what they were able to tell my source was that you and Ria had been in there and all that you had asked for was the blueprints to the building. So where did you get your info from, guys? Because it's certainly not come from the archives, and it certainly had not come from the newspapers, because we'd checked them all 4 of us that had been working on this, and none of the deaths were showing up at all.
So we've tried to put this back to the banker's parlour, living room, office. It had been the more posher of the rooms. It had worked from here. Downstairs, he would have invited people up to do big business. It was one of the richest banks in Wombwell. All the mining money came through this bank. One of the major things that we found out while doing the history of the building was that the banker himself passed away in here. He died of a heart attack at the age of 55. And we do.
So did you hear that, guys?
One of the major things that we found out while doing the history of the building was that the banker himself passed away in here. He died of a heart attack at the age of 55.
Now, where did you get your information? On your original post, you said this was John William Mason, who died in 1915. He was a bank manager. He died at the age of 55 with a heart attack at his desk. Now, I know for a fact that there was no John William Mason bank manager managing this bank in 1915. And you know why? Because I've got the official census records. Now, from 1902 to like 1930, I want to say 1936, this bank was only run by 2 families. That was the Noble family and the Moody family. There was no mention whatsoever of a John William Mason. So your story has been fabricated.
Quite a few things happening here. There's videos of cat balls flying at girls.
Not really. Videos of cat balls rolling off a flat surface, and another video of a cat ball falling off a chair right next to where you were moving. Not paranormal, is it?
Oh, wow.
People being touched. And the corridor itself, people always feel that someone's trying to peek or look round the corners. A lot of companies have helped us, so a lot of places that have shut down have donated a lot of haunted items to us.
Oh, we've got some haunted objects in here as well.
Yeah, there's
I mean, I don't know that for sure, but judging on the stories he's made up about the building, what other stories has he made up? I know that some of the dolls in this building are from when Lindsay had it. So anything that's supposed to have an attachment, which Lindsay said, you know, it's probably going to be bollocks.
doll on the right.
Oh, let's have a look at this one. The one with the tongue sticking out.
Yeah, so he fastest people that left after an hour because he fell off the piano.
Oh, that'll be us, won't it?
The picture at the top.
A top-heavy doll with a flimsy bottom falling off a piano. Again, not paranormal. It's very common for top-heavy dolls with big plastic heads and then just a fabric body. It's top-heavy. It's going to topple over. It has to be perfectly balanced. Any vibrations coming from the main road, which you are on, slowly over time will micro-move that doll to the point of falling over. Again, not paranormal.
It was from a house. The woman was distressed. She told us to take that away and never come back. Altogether, from the museums and stuff, there's over 50, 60 haunted or supposedly haunted objects with attachments in here.
Supposedly, yeah.
So now I'll take you to the child's room.
The child's room?
Yeah, so because we found out the first banker had 2 daughters, we decided we were going to turn the room.
Now, yes, he is telling the truth about this. This was the Noble family, and he did have 2 daughters, Ruth and Charlotte. So that checks out.
One of the first recorded deaths in the building is actually on the staircase itself. A domestic was found at the bottom with a fractured skull. Well, the only reason I come across it in the archives was...
Did you hear that, guys?
One of the first recorded deaths in the building is actually on the staircase itself. A domestic was found at the bottom with a fractured skull. Well, the only reason I come across it in the archives was because she was found on the stairs with a fractured skull.
Now, he's referring to Elizabeth Bond, who was found at the bottom of the stairs, dead in 1898, apparently by John William Mason, who never even worked there, who never even existed. And he's saying he found this information in the archives. What archives? What archives? We've checked the official death records. I've even checked all the probate records. We've checked the Barnsley archives. Physically checked them. Been in there and checked them. I've emailed the Barnsley Bank archives. No trace whatsoever. We've been through all the newspaper archives. Nothing. We've even been on to a lot of the websites where you can check the family trees. Nothing. The story is all fabricated.
It seemed as mysterious. So there was an inquest into it, and it's weird because the first bank manager...
There was no inquest. Things like this would have been on the front page of the newspaper. We checked all the newspapers. We checked for inquests. Nothing. Absolutely zero.
The one that I'd said that passed away, he gave evidence because he was the one that actually found her. So there was an inquest into it, and it's weird because the first bank manager, the one that I'd said that passed away, he gave evidence because he was the one that...
The first bank manager, the one that he'd said passed away, he doesn't exist.
Actually found her dead on the bottom, but it was classified in the end by death by misadventure, which I thought was a very Victorian way of putting an accident.
Yeah.
So we'll leave the Victorian part that we've done And as a tribute to the coal miners and the Lundhill disaster that happened underneath, we created the coal miners flat area. So upstairs we've got the...
So we'll get on to the mines. Now, Matthew said that the mines run underneath the building from the Lundhill disaster. Now, the evidence that they have supplied, that they've got a plaque on the wall, we'll see it later on another clip that I will show you. But if we go into Wombwell here, okay? Now, this is the mining charts. This is the official mining charts, okay? Now, if you go down on the side here, you can actually check off what you want to show up on the map. I've literally checked everything here. The colliery search, the mining entry, the mine plans, the high risk area, the surface coal, the mine entry potential zone of influence, the fissures and break lines, the surface mining, the past shallow coal mine workings, the probable shallow coal mine workings, the coal outcrops, any mining groundwater constraints, and the coal mining reporting area. Now, if we zoom right down into Wombwell here, okay. Now, this is the high street, and this point here, where I've got my cursor, is where the bank house is, okay. So if we zoom out and keep my cursor to where the bank house is, there's no mines that run under the building. Now, these big purple lines here are the main workings, okay? The main shafts, we'll call them, okay? So we've got these two shafts running parallel here. This is the Wombwell main and the Lundhill. This is where the disaster happened. And we'll know this because the disaster actually happened here at the Hillies Pavilion Golf Course. That is where the explosion was. And you can see from the high street up here, is about 1.5 miles away from where the explosion was. Now, the mine tunnels had to pretty much stay strictly within these purple barriers. Okay? There's no way that a miner with a shovel would have dug his way 1.5 miles away from the boundaries of the shaft and gone underneath the bank house. It's impossible. And another reason why it's impossible, if they dug that far from the main shaft into the middle of the town, they would have suffocated to death. There wouldn't have been enough oxygen in a small mine tunnel for a person to stay alive. They would have suffocated to death. Now, the closest mine to the high street, bearing in mind the bank house is about here, this mine here is the Mitchell Main colliery, okay? This was closer to the bank house than the Lundhill and the Wombwell main. But again, like I said, the tunnels would have had to stayed strictly within these barriers. And there's a reason why these main shafts go around the outside of the town. Because it would have been too dangerous. You would literally have buildings collapsing into the ground. Now, Matt questioned this on Facebook. He said, this is a very complex and intricate set of events that happened underneath Wombwell and the surrounding area. First of all, the old bank house history is undeniably tied to the histories of both the Lundhill and Wombwell main pits. The bank would not exist if it weren't for these mines. It was built off the back of all the coal that was extracted from the area, securing the mines' interests as well as serving the people of Wombwell. Yes, the bank was built in 1895 and it undeniably sits on top of the old mine workings. By the time the bank house was built, there was only one unified mine network underneath it, consisting of both the old Lundhill workings and the Wombwell main. The only detail we have probably neglected is that underneath this area, over 300 men and boys had sadly lost their lives within a labyrinth of mines beneath the bank house, both from the Lundhill and Wombwell main. The argument that there were no mines, which is what I said, underneath the bank house is plainly wrong. This can be easily verified using the government's website on mine locations and old abandonment plans. Yeah, well, what, you mean this one? This one? This is the official one. And it doesn't show any mines going underneath the bank house, which is, if I can find it, here. Just there. Nowhere near this mine. Certainly nowhere near these mines. Like I said, I've got everything down the side checked. So it should show me everything. The argument that Lundhill didn't mine underneath Wombwell is also wrong. Lundhill is part of Wombwell. And Lundhill and Wombwell Main were mining the same coal stream. Yes, there were so-called boundaries during the Victorian era. Knowing where these were wasn't easy as pulling your phone out and looking on Google. Now, Matt, coal miners didn't just blindly dig underneath the surface. Mining surveyors used incredibly accurate, like theodolites, mining compasses and chains to make sure that they weren't digging in the wrong direction. And not only that, like I said before, they were just using a single shovel. Do you really think that they would... Do you know how long it would take somebody with a single shovel to mine 1.5 miles up the road to underneath the bank house? It was impossible. The mines were complexly interwoven with each other, leading to the eventual merger of both operations. As Rhea suggested, the evidence by Joseph Coe indicates that the mines were wrongly mapped and far exceeded the original boundaries. Coe notes that he had to turn back near the canal boundary, not because the mine was finished, because of the extreme dangers of fire damp gases, proving that the mines exceeded their own ideas of size and direction. So if we go back onto the map, now if we look here, this is where the canal is right here. Now they might have strayed off slightly, but there's no way they were straying off 1.5 miles from the main shaft. Like I said before, it's impossible. I will get the actual abandonment plans for the mines and show the bank house's location right amid the plans. I've just done that. And it shows that there were no mines underneath the building.
So this is our widow's room. We created this in respect to Lundhill disaster.
You created it. You created it. Exactly. You've created it. And that wedding dress right there was from when Lindsay ran it. She got it from a charity shop. I know this because her ex told me. Just like most of the crap that used to be in that place when she ran it. It's all tat.
What happened underneath the building that left, I think, 200 kids orphaned.
It wasn't underneath the building though, was it?
Something happened?
Yeah, just behind.
Well, what's happened to her? Have you just felt something? Or?
Yeah, I thought it were you.
No, I was in the door. Something touched her?
It was literally in the base of the... I thought you were moving me along.
No.
I mean, after all the lies he's told about the history, why should we believe that he's just been touched by a ghost?
Wedding dress was donated back to us from the last owner.
Lindsay, yeah.
She lost her husband during World War One.
And Lindsay said the lady died in the wedding dress. How would she know that if it's from a charity shop?
Felt it worth fitting.
Oh, definitely.
Object to have in this room. This is one of the more active rooms.
What have people experienced in this room?
So, again, the electronic equipment, cat balls, everything will go off in here. The REM pod.
All the electronic equipment, cat balls, REM pods will go off in there. So many natural things that could be making devices go off. Certainly cat balls, there's going to be vibrations constantly.
The people will feel, especially on the bed area, a tight chest or a struggle breathing, which is weird because one of the other deaths that we come across was a domestic that was left up here with pneumonia, and she was just left in bed. Nob did come up to see her or help her out, and she...
So now he's referring to the Mary Fisher, who was supposed to have died there in 1915 of pneumonia up in the bed there. Again, look through all of the records, all the census records, obituary records, probate records. the Barnsley archives, the Berkeley archives, no mention of any Mary Fisher. Now, it was a bank. They would have kept meticulous records of everybody going in and out of that bank. Certainly people that stayed and lived in that bank. And if the bank did not give out that information when they were asked, there were massive fines. So yeah, after I kind of first questioned Matt and Rhea on the history, then Lindsay, she decides to chirp up and try and stick her oar in as well. And this was one of the videos that she released a couple of days after I'd questioned them.
Show something. As you can see, we're outside the wonderful bank house. Now, there was a bit of a debate, and I must stress, we're not having a go at anybody, we just want to point something out. Right, so as you can see, it was the old bank, but we're not going into that again. But apparently, certain people were saying that the noises you hear are from the neighbours. Okay, let's show you. No neighbours there. Now that is the seance room. As you can see, and the noises normally come up there in the attic, but there's no neighbours. As you can see, no neighbours. Shops are all shut. No neighbours, look.
I mean, you say there's no neighbours, but I got somebody to walk down that high street, and this was taken a few days ago. Windows open, curtains, most probably neighbours.
No neighbours. Well, the only neighbours there are is in the dress shop, but that's storage up there, and she's only just sorting out, and so on. No neighbours, look.
And I mean, you've got things up in the windowsill there. Could be neighbours living there. How do you know? Have you been and checked? No, yeah, I actually did get in touch with the Easy Barbers just to double check to make sure that there wasn't anybody living up in the top floor there. And they said there wasn't. So that's all good. But you're hearing noises from the roof, okay? It's bare up there. There's no insulation. There's no nothing. It could be noises coming out from the street, which the noise is escaping through the roof. I know there's been issues with the roof as well. You've had holes in the roof and God knows what. So the noises could actually be coming from outside, but the sound has leaked in through the roof. And that's why it sounds like it could be coming from upstairs. There could be animals up there making noise. There could be rats. In fact, in the two Ghost Girls video, I could hear something scratching about in their video, like something nibbling on something. So you could have rodents up there.
Are we? You okay? Yeah, so I heard something move right beside me. Really? Yeah. Like an actual movement? Like an actual movement. What? Oh my god. No! Yeah. Like right next to me. Unless there's like a rat in there.
It's not neighbours. You know, for me, I don't know if Nettie agrees, you cannot debunk a building until you actually come and stand outside and look at it or step inside.
Well, I actually can, because I've been through all of the archives and everything that's been said about this place is a lie. So you stand there and say that I can't debunk it without being there. I have. I just did.
We're not having a go at anybody.
It's funny how Lindsay's like, oh, I don't like drama. I don't like getting into drama. Yeah, well, why did you have to fucking pipe up then? You're walking around this building like you still own it and you still run it. Lindsay, let it go. You run it into the ground. You literally had Funko Pops up in the attic.
There seems to be...
Funko Pops? What's that got to do with being haunted?
This is the RSPCA, but the noises you hear, the banging when we've been in, is always in the attic. Even when I had it, you know, even when me and Natty had it, it's always in the attic. Which...
even when I had it, even when me and Nettie had it. Did you tell Nettie that she was paying you rent when the rent had already been paid by your ex?
Guys, yeah, we're just gonna debunk, if you like.
Oh, she's gonna debunk. That'd be the first time ever, Lindsay.
another one of the things that was said about this amazing place. And I'm not just saying it's an amazing place because obviously I had it and love it so much.
She always has to get out of it because I had it. Let it go, Lindsay. It's not yours anymore. You fucked the place up enough. Time to move on. Let somebody else run it.
But really, Matt have done a fantastic job with this place.
I mean, I give them their due. The place looks brilliant. It really does look good. It looks the part. And I'm not saying it is not haunted. It could well be haunted. But what I'm saying is the stories that have been tied to this place have been totally fabricated. And I don't think it's right to mislead people to sell tickets to a haunted location.
Like you can see, when we hear noises upstairs, like I've shown you previous, listen, it's silent, you know, and this is how it is of an evening.
You literally listened for 3 seconds. Oh, that's going to save me a lot of time when I next go to a location and do an investigation. Walk in there, go, hello? That's it, lads. Let's go. Done. No noises here. What a waste of time. Let's do one.
Yeah, there'll be noise in the daytime, but...
Loads of noise in the daytime and loads of noise in the nighttime. When I did the video on the 2 ghost girls, you could hear blokes walking past, shouting about. You even heard a bloke whistle. Stop trying to play us for fools, Lindsay, because we ain't having none of it.
At night, let me just switch these off, guys. There is no... That's it. There is no noise. This is how it is.
There's plenty of noise coming from that building at night. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes.
This is how it always is. But anyway, I don't know who it was who was investigating, but...
2 ghost girls.
As you can see, I'm walking around in here. Now, I don't know exactly... Do you know exactly what had happened, Nettie? Apparently, that creaked or something.
Yeah, I think he said that a floorboard creaks.
I didn't say that at all.
Or there's a loose floorboard which
But you actually hear her creak then when she walked over that floorboard?
caused that to creak.
No, there isn't.
Or something on them lines.
So you didn't watch it, Nettie. So if you actually watched the video, you would see that I showed M, was it M? Climbing into that coffin. And she hit her foot on the side of the coffin and made a bang. And they said that the bang was coming from upstairs. When you can clearly see it was the heel of her foot hitting the inside of the coffin, making it bang.
What's that? What? Is it not under here?
Yeah, that's exactly where it is. That was her heel. That was her heel hitting the inside of the coffin. So where the hell have you got this, there's a floorboard that's making the coffin bang? Where have you got that from? You're just making up your own shit.
It's not a flimsy thing.
Try getting in it, like the 2 ghost girls did. You'll see how bangy and creaky and wobbly it is then.
You cannot debunk a house that you haven't been to.
Absolutely.
I can, and I have.
You can't. There is no way.
There's no way, Nettie, that you can debunk it. There's no way. I can debunk it by looking through multiple archives. I've had 4 people helping me on this as well. None of us have found any evidence to support the stories that probably you started and Rhea and Matt have jumped on board with as well. Now, what I've seen with my own 2 eyes is 90% of the shit that comes out of your mouth is fabricated. It's lies. And I'm starting to think that probably you didn't get many bookings when you ran this place because they knew that you were running it. And some of the stuff that I've heard that you've done, I'm not surprised that nobody wants to support you.
You know, yeah, everybody tries to debunk. You cannot debunk a building.
People out there believing that a creaky floorboard or a loose floorboard.
You can hear, could you hear the coffin then wobbling as she walked up towards it?
Out there believing that a creaky floorboard or a loose floorboard made the coffin
You could hear it. Could you hear it like creaking and wobbling there? You just debunked yourself.
creak,
No.
or there's a creaking floorboard, which whatever he said.
Then as she walked back over it again, you can hear it cracking.
Even out here there isn't.
There's nothing.
No, even out here there isn't. That's a solid floor. So like I say, you know, we're not having a go at anybody. We're certainly not causing arguments and things like that. But we just wanted to put it out there because...
I just wanted to stick my oar in, because I'm not having anybody badmouth the place that I used to run. Badly.
We know this place as much as we're a map.
This proof is theory.
Yeah. And the doors don't shut on their own. There's no mechanisms there. You know, it's like we say, you
Nobody mentioned any mechanisms of any doors.
cannot debunk a house unless you visited it. And I'm sure the offer's there if anybody wants to come.
I have been offered to go there by Ria and Matthew, but I think after this video comes out, I think they might retract the invite.
There was questioning at first whether this place was a bank. It certainly was. And as you can see up there...
Yep. I did question if it was a bank. Unfortunately, when I did some Google searching, it was giving me information that was on the wrong address, because obviously the numbers of the streets were different back then. It was coming up saying that it originally opened as a co-op and it was a shop. So that's why I question it. But after doing more digging, I found that out it was actually a bank. But then my search continued to whether, you know, the upstairs dwelling was used by the bank. And I found out that it was as well. And they seem to be holding on to this. Oh, you said it wasn't a bank. You said it wasn't a bank. Yeah, I did at first. Yep, I did. And after more research, I found that it was a bank. But I carried on for the next 2 weeks with 4 people helping me. But the stories that have been all made up on this place, no trace of those whatsoever.
Well, people were saying there were no mines under this place.
No, I was saying.
No mines.
Okay, and this
certainly was. Now look, here is...
So this is their evidence. This is their evidence, okay, that there was mines underneath the building. And this is the website. This is the exact same website that they've taken that picture from. And if we look at that, and then we look at theirs, it's the same. No mines whatsoever. This is where the high street is. This is where the bank house is. The closest mine, right here, which was the Mitchell Main. Nowhere near the Wombwell Main or the Lund Hill.
The mines that went under, as you can see, mine plans. Okay, the mine plans.
You could say mine plans as many times as you want. It's not going to put mines underneath the building.
And that is exactly, that yellow dot, is where this house is.
That's wrong, because it's actually above it, right there.
And again, I don't know what these means. Summer Lane.
I don't know what these means. Exactly, you don't. If you did know what it means, you would know that proves there's no mines underneath the building.
And this here is the bank house.
Yep, and that's the blueprints that Matt and Ria went into the archives to get. The only thing that they got from the archives. So enough of that waffle. So I had a couple of comments from people on my 2 Ghost Girls video, people saying, you know, you don't know what you're talking about. Matt's a really good historian. You know, he's found out all the history on this place. He knows what he's doing. And I'm kind of like, does he know what he's doing? Because, yeah, what I found is not great. And there's going to be videos coming soon. And I think they caught wind of this because when I was at work last night, they took down their original post of the history of the place and the deaths in the place. And they've now changed their story. And they've changed their story so it pretty much coincides with the email I got back from the Barclays archives. And when I read this, I was like, they know that I've been digging up into the history and they know I'm going to find that they're lying. So they've quickly backtracked and they've changed the history back to a more accurate description of what went on. But there's still a couple of lies hidden in here to give the illusion that this place is haunted by ghosts. So it goes on to say here that it was, built in 1895 on the high street. That all checks out with the history that I've got my hands on. It then goes to say it opened as the Wakefield and Barnsley Union Bank, which was correct. It then went on to be the United Counties Bank and then turned into Barclays and Company Limited. So this all checks out. Now it goes on to say about the people that ran the bank during these times, and these dates are all fairly accurate. It's got the Moody family there, the Noble family. So that all checks out from the census records and the archive records that I've got as well. This bit interested me. The property features incredibly steep, sharp staircase that served as a constant hazard for rushing maids. While colourful local lore and neighbourhood stories pass down grim accounts of fatal tumbles on these steps, official census and obituary records show no paper trail to validate a tragedy on the stairs. So you're admitting there that it's false. And you knew I was going to find out that it was false. That's why you've tried to get ahead of this before I release anything. Very, very clever. But you've slipped up. Because at the bottom here, enter John. A colourful history. When bank managers stopped living on the site full time, the building required a resident protector. Enter John. A man with a deep history in the local pits, specifically down at the Darfield mine. Having worked for the bank on and off since 1915, John eventually moved into the building as a resident caretaker. John was a well-known complex figure who also served as president of the Wombwell Homing Society. Local newspapers from the era reveal a checkered past. He was once shockingly charged with mistreating a pit pony in his mining days. That checks out. But he also played the local hero, springing into action to help the police capture an escaping prisoner. Tragically, John suffered a fatal heart attack right here inside the bank walls. He didn't. And do you know why I know? Because now I thought it was a bit weird that they didn't give us a second name to this John, probably because they didn't want us to dig up the history. Now, stupidly, they put a picture of John here in their photos. So, me and my team, my ace team that have been helping me with this, Anita, one of the team, she put this picture into Google, and you'll never guess what come up. So as we can see here, this is the obituary of John Colson. We actually found out his second name from the picture. And as you can see here, he's a caretaker of Barclays Bank in the High Street, Wombwell. All checks out, right? The death occurred in hospital, in Sheffield. In hospital, in Sheffield. Not inside the bank. So they lied again, guys. They lied again. Even when they was trying to tell the truth, they stuck in another lie. Now, yes, they did correct a lot of the wrongs of the narrative that they tried to sell us here, but they just had to try and keep one of their lies in, and that was that somebody died in that building of a heart attack. This was supposed to be John William Mason that died in a heart attack at age 55. And now they changed it to John. They didn't give us the second name. We reversed the image in Google. It come up with John Colson here, who was a caretaker, wasn't even a manager, and he didn't even die in the bank. And it was even the wrong age. They said 55. It says 58 here. Now, I wasn't going to dig this deep into this case, but when they were very passive-aggressive towards me when I questioned them on whether it was actually a bank, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to dive deeper into this, particularly into the deaths, because this is a paranormal channel. The deaths and the ghost stories are the things that interest me the most. So I thought, right, I'm going to dig really deep into this and see if there's any truth to it. And after a couple of weeks of searching, none of it was true. None of it. Now, just like any faker on YouTube, this is morally wrong. You shouldn't be selling people far-fetched stories to gain people's attention. And in this case, sell tickets to the location. How can you sit there and run a business on lies? Suck people in with your made-up stories and hoping that they won't check it out to find out the truth for themselves. And when you've caught wind of somebody digging deep into it, you've then backtracked, changed your story to try and get out in front of it before you're exposed. It's out of order, to be honest. It's out of order. And it's not like you could even say, oh, this is what we were told. This was the law. This was the folklore that we've been told by, neighbours and people in the street. It's not, because you said specifically in your videos that you had checked the archives, and this is where you'd got the information from. You'd have checked the official archives. Well, you had not checked the official archives, because if you checked the official archives, then you would have got this right. It's a shame. It's a real shame, because the place is a very nice building. It's obviously been around for a long time. It's got a lot of history, and maybe it is haunted. But you've made up stories to get people in through the door. And I can't get on board with that. See, I think we're going to leave it there, guys. I've waffled on for long enough, and I've made my point. I do want to thank the people that have helped me behind the scenes. Anita, thank you so much. And the Woodside Walker, she's been amazing as well. She's dug so deep into the history and really helped me out. So I really appreciate all the help. All of the people, you know who you are, and I'll be eternally grateful for the help you've given me during this debunk, because it's been a slog. We've gone deep, very deep, and it was exhausting. I think one of the days I spent about 10 hours in here on the PC looking through articles, archives, and God knows what. And I just couldn't have done it without them. So I do thank you. But yeah, guys, please do leave your thoughts and your comments down below. What do you think to all this? Do you think locations should be able to get away with lying to the public to sell tickets? I don't. I think it's totally out of order, and I think things like this should be stopped. So like I said, please do leave your thoughts down below, guys. Do take care, and I will see you again on the next one.